At the start of the semester, my public speaking professor asked the class, how many of you are taking this class because it's required? To her surprise, none of us raised our hands. As BYU students, we are busy between the classes we need for general education, the classes we need for our major, our extracurriculars. We barely have time in between to do the things we want. So how awesome was it that we as a class found time to take a class not required for the sole purpose of acquiring those skills that will help us better our futures, even more so than some of the existing required classes. Now, some students think the current general education classes are really important for our opportunities and our success after graduation. However, I'm here to tell you today that the current structure of general education classes are actually hindering our ability to have success beyond graduation. Now, how are they doing that? I'm going to talk today about how they don't value students' individual strengths, how they may not be teaching us what we think they're teaching us, and where can we go from here? So first off, they're not valuing our individual strengths as students. Dr. Ratcliffe, who served as a senior scientist and professor at Pennsylvania State University, conducted a research experiment in which he looked at two groups of students and how general education classes affected those students. He predicted that if a single set of coursework were to benefit students, that the results would show this. In fact, this is what our university is assuming. These general education classes are affecting us in the same way and essentially the same amount. However, this is not what he found. He found that certain classes, specifically math and science classes, actually affected these two groups of students in completely opposite ways. One group of students was doing really well, and the other group of students were really struggling. And these were the same classes with the exact same coursework. Now, it didn't mean the students that were struggling were dumb by any means. It meant they had different strengths, right? I have experienced this personally. I knew I didn't like science by means of high school, and I wasn't really good at it. So when I got to college and saw that I had to take biology and chemistry again, I was devastated. Now, not only did I not do well, but I lost a passion to learn during that semester and try to do well because I was trying to just survive, honestly, and we've all been there in a class, right? So fast forward to my junior year of college, I decided I wanted to apply to law school. And this was really awesome because I was like, man, my major GPA is up there. I could get into like the good colleges I want. However, law schools look at your overall GPA, right? And my overall GPA was down here, not up here where my major GPA was. Now, this discrepancy told me that those general education classes is what hinders my ability to get into the best possible law school. Now, not all of you are going to be applying to law school, right? But I can bet there are a lot of you in the audience out there who have taken a general education class and it has tanked their GPA. So you may be wondering, why am I up here talking about how general education classes don't benefit us? We're at a university after all, one that values a general education. And we as undergraduate students, that is the purpose of being here, right? Well, I'm actually not disagreeing with that. I think that's awesome and it's awesome in theory, but we're not seeing it in practice. These classes that we have currently are not designed to teach us these kinds of skills that we can take outside of college. Pradeep Das, who serves as the chief of the STEM department at Northern Arizona University, found that there were two goals amongst professors when it came to the learning goals, specifically in the science general education classes. He found that the first goal was to teach a general appreciation of the world and just a scientific way of thinking. The second goal was a deep dive into one specific area of science, which is kind of what our general education classes are doing right now. However, if we want skills that will help us in the workplace and beyond graduation, we want that first goal to be seen in classes where we just understand and appreciate the world of science, not necessarily a deep dive into chemistry. So one unidentified professor in this study identified an alternative route that we can take for these kinds of classes. So let's say we take a non-science class and integrate science disciplines and skills into that class, and boom, you have a perfect GE class. Now, I've actually seen this in practice. I am a linguistics student, so in some of my classes, we have been taught and use the scientific method to test language processes. So it works. Now, BYU has even acknowledged that these complexities can delay graduation. So they've taken a step in the right direction. This is a deconstructed view of their new general education proposal. And they're reframing it to focus on things that will apply outside of graduation, such as global engagement and communication. So now that we've seen what our university is taking steps in the right direction, what can you do? Our former president, Kevin J. Worthen, suggests that we need to make it a campus-wide discussion about how these classes can help us, what we need from them, and what we want from them. So I encourage you to just start talking about what you want and need in your education, and we can help our university help us. Thank you.